Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a recent warning that has been given by the Japanese meteorological agencies, where a warning has been given about a possibility of megaquake. Megaquake basically refers to a very large magnitude earthquake that can be recorded on a Richter scale. So let us try to understand in this video what is a megaquake and what basically the warning tells us or what basically it means. So to give you the background of this particular topic, recently in one of the regions of Japan, a 7.5 magnitude of earthquake, this magnitude which is recorded on a Richter scale, has shaken the southern region of Japan. And it is in the context or in the basically we can say the foreground of this magnitude, this earthquake, the country's meteorological agencies has issued most significantly for the first time in the history advisory for a megaquake. Now we talk about this particular advisory and warning. It is stated that the likelihood of a strong shaking and a large tsunami associated with earthquake that can be as higher or normal than what we have seen in the past can be observed on the region of Nankai Trough. Now what is Nankai Trough? We'll look in the later part of the video. However, as far as this particular advisory is concerned, it does not mean that a major earthquake would definitely happen during a specific period of the time as per the advisory, but there is a huge possibility any time in the future. So, as we have discussed, the region that the warning has been given about is a region called as Nankai Trough. So, this region as you see here is the Nankai Trough. This is the Japan, which is a group of three major islands. This is the Honshu, this is the Honshu Island, which is the largest island here. Then if you look here, basically this region is where three different plates are interacting with each other. When we talk about plates, plates basically mean the Earth's lithospheric slab or the upper part of the Earth is divided into numerous small fractured regions, and each of this fractured region is what we refer as plate. And each of this plate, due to the forces coming from inside the Earth's mantle, keeps on moving, and as they move, they keep on interacting with each other. So, in this region in the east, as you can see, you have a large plate, that is ocean plate called as Pacific plate. Further to the south, you have another ocean plate or sea plate we can say, that is Philippine sea plate. And third in the west, you have a very big continental plate, that is Eurasian plate. So, Japan's location basically lies at the tri-junction of these three plates, Eurasian plate, Pacific plate and the Philippine sea plate. Now, the junction that we are talking about, the Nankai Trough that has been talked about in this particular advisory, lies at the boundary where Philippine sea plate is interacting with the Eurasian continental plate. So basically, what we see on the Earth, that when an oceanic plate or sea plate collides with a continental plate, now as the oceanic plate is denser due to the basalt rocks it start to subduct or sink below the lighter continental plate. So the Nankai Trough can simply be defined as an underwater subduction zone that develops here, which is almost 900 kilometers long, and where the Eurasian plate is colliding with the Philippine sea plate, pushing the Philippine sea plate, the denser sea plate, under the former and into the Earth's mantle. Now, as this plate is pushed downward, since both the plates are made up of rocks, the rocks start to push against each other. That builds up stress in the rock, which is also referred as tectonic stress. Now, as far as the rocks can be compressed, it gets compressed due to this action. After a certain time, the energy that is stored in these rocks suddenly released when the rocks breaks or crack. This amount of energy that releases is responsible for what we can call as earthquake. Now, obviously, greater the tectonic stress buildup, higher will be the magnitude of earthquake. Thus, if a tectonic stress buildup is of extreme nature, the earthquake will be of mega nature. That is what we can call as a megaquake. In simple term, on Richter scale, any earthquake that is having a magnitude larger than 8 can be classified as a megaquake. Now, further, if you try to understand this, the same thing, the same diagram that we have discussed, when the denser oceanic plate, in this case Philippine sea plate, subducts below the lighter continental plate, in this case Eurasian plate, what we see is the subduction of the denser plate. Now, as the denser plate subducts, what we see is the melting or partial melting of the rocks of this dense oceanic plate, which releases magma. Magma being lighter in we can say weight start to rise up, and as this magma rises up, it breaks apart through the crust of the continental plate and then comes out in the form of volcano. Now that is the reason why a large area of Japan is prone to volcanic eruptions as well. And since Japan is an island surrounded by water from all the sides, any small to large scale disturbances in the crust, either due to volcanic eruption or due to earthquake, can also trigger a large scale tsunami around the Japan, and that is what exactly advisory is talking about. So if you try to understand it in more detail, if you look at the structure here, the continental plate itself is further subdivided into several minor plates. So in this case, if you look at the geography of Japan, Eurasian continental plate is further subdivided into Amur plate, which is a small continental plate. Then we have Okhotsk plate, which is a small, we can say, oceanic plate. Then we have the Pacific plate, and here we have Okinawa plate. Then we have Yangtze plate in China, and then we have Philippine Sea plate. Now, by looking at this diagram, you should understand that Japan is one of the most earthquake prone region of the world. Also, it has very high probability of volcanic eruption, and also there is high probability of tsunami. The reason is because so many plates is surrounding the Japan from all sides. Any interaction between any of these plates can cause tectonic disturbances in Japan, and that is the reason why more than thousands of earthquakes from minor to major is recorded in the Japan every year. So if we talk about the history of earthquake in this region, as per the expert, it is believed that the trough which we are talking about has produced large earthquakes roughly every 100 to 150 years. Now, why this time period? Because it is during this time period the tectonic stress that has been building up in the rocks start to release the energy, because the rocks start to get displaced or break. This is as per the study conducted in last year, that is 2023. Now, high probability of successive occurrences in the Nankai Trough or Nankai Megathrust earthquake is something that is also possible, not only as per the Japan Meteorological Agency, but also a well-known and respected journal that is referred as Nature. Now, these tremors usually come in pairs. That is also a trend which we have seen in the past earthquake. That means often rupturing in the subsequent 2 years. That means one earthquake is followed by another earthquake, and the time duration gap between these two twin earthquakes is basically of 2 years. So the last time when it happened in 1944, and the second earthquake then occurred in 1946. That means, let us suppose the Nankai Trough Megaquake occurs in this particular year, 2024. That means again another megaquake or earthquake will happen in year 2026. So basically we have to, or Japanese people have to be concerned about two successive earthquakes in a time gap of 2 years, and they have to prepare accordingly. Now, when can be the next megaquake? Can we predict it? Now, the answer is definitely no, because the prediction of earthquake is almost impossible. However, if you look at the January 2022 time period, the Japan's Earthquake Research Agency or committee has said that the next magnitude 8 to 9 megaquake along the Nankai Trough has roughly 70% probability of striking within the next 30 years. Now, this is a very big time gap. Next 30 years means it can happen next following week, or it can happen in the last week of 30th years from now. So it is a very huge time period, and that is why I said to you that the prediction of earthquake is almost impossible task as of the current scientific development that we have. So if you try to understand the 8 to 9 megaquake or this magnitude earthquake, what it basically means. So this is the Richter scale on which the magnitude of earthquake is calculated. Now, Richter scale basically is a logarithmic scale. So as we move 1 unit on the Richter scale, the energy released in the earthquake changes by almost 30 times, and the amplitude of the seismic waves that is generated also changes by almost 10 times. And that is why, if suppose a magnitude 8 earthquake strikes any given region of the earth, the energy released is equivalent to 60 billion kilograms of TNT explosion. And at the same time, if a 9 magnitude earthquake strikes the earth, energy release will not be just 1 or 10 times higher, it will be 20 trillion kilograms of TNT. And that is why you can see almost 30 to 31 times of increase in the amount of energy released is observed for every magnitude change that we see on the Richter scale. In simplest term, a magnitude 9 earthquake will be 30 times more devastating as compared to magnitude 8 earthquake. Now, such a megaquake could send tremors to areas from the central Shizuoka, that is the main region of Japan, which is situated about 150 kilometers south of Tokyo, to southwestern Miyazaki. That means it will spread over, the energy will spread over a large area, causing heavy damages. And obviously, such a huge magnitude of earthquake can trigger tsunami waves, which can rise as high as 98 feet in the height. And not only this, the tsunami thus may be able to reach the Japan's Pacific coast within minutes of the quake. That means people will have very limited time to flee to what we can say to the safer areas, to the highland areas. If you remember, it was in 2011, Japan already has witnessed a devastating tsunami which has caused the meltdown of Fukushima nuclear plant. So similar kind of incidents can be expected in the future as well because of this megaquake. Now, what is the possible impact? As per 2013 government report, it found that if such megaquake indeed occurs in the Nankai Trough, it could impact an area that covers almost 1/3 of Japan. And since area covered is such large, obviously the effect on the life of people will be also tremendous. And it is believed that almost 120 million people's life in Japan will be impacted due to the megaquake. And the damage to the infrastructure, damage to the economy will be so tremendous that almost $1.5 trillion of the we can say of the economic damages Japan can expect due to this particular disaster. If you compare this figure, it is more than 1/3 of Japan's annual gross domestic product or GDP. So damage in terms of infrastructure losses, economic losses, as well as human casualty we can expect. So as we have discussed before, is prediction of earthquake possible as per the current technology or science that we have? The answer is absolutely no. An accurate prediction of earthquake, at least we can say, needs a precursory signal that should come from within the earth, and based on this signal and the analysis of signal, then we can try to predict that in this time period a big earthquake is coming or it is on the way. But the problem is the signal must also occur only before large earthquake, so that it does not indicate every small movement within the earth's surface. Otherwise, you'll have thousands of signals every day. The reason is, as we discussed before, the plates of the earth are in continuous motion, constant motion, but not all of these motion can trigger natural disasters, whether it is volcanic eruption or tsunami. But as we discussed, currently, as of now, there is no equipment that we have that can find such precursor signals and analyze it, and on the basis of that predict it. So the prediction of earthquake is almost next to impossible. So again, if you take a fresh look at the Japan Meteorological Agency, the agency that has given this megaquake advisory and warning, the recent advisory is basically a warning, not a prediction. It had nothing to do with science. The warning has been issued, the advisory has been issued based on the historical seismic activity that this particular trough region has seen, and that is what we have discussed in the earlier part of video as well. So the advisory asks residents to prepare, review evacuation routes, and consider potential future warnings that can be given also in this area, and take action based on those warnings. So that is all for this particular video. I hope you understood the concept of megaquake, the possible impact it could have on the people of Japan, and why Japan Meteorological Agency has come up with a megaquake advisory. Thank you very much.